Good morning. Well done. Energy in the room, and we're only 8 minutes late. Apologies for that. But good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Hisham Mundol. I am a director with Environmental Defense India Foundation. I'll talk briefly about it later. Let me just set some context. Much of the global climate and food conversation is still overwhelmingly land-focused. We talk about cities and crops and land systems. These are all obviously important, but we talk far less about the role of food that comes from the water. And yet what we call blue foods, fish, shellfish, other aquatic foods from oceans, rivers, lakes, aquaculture, sit quietly at the intersection of nutrition, livelihoods, and climate resilience. They offer advantages that are increasingly hard to ignore. Many blue food systems can deliver high-quality protein with lower land use, lower freshwater demand, and in many cases, a lower emissions footprint compared to conventional land-based protein systems. And at a time of climate stress, this combination matters more. In India, this is not a marginal story. There are nearly 13 million people dependent on small-scale fisheries and allied activities just on the coasts. For coastal and riverine communities, blue foods are not just an economic sector, they are income security, food security, and social stability. We're also meeting at a moment when pressures are converging. Oceans are warming, ecosystems are shifting, nutrition challenges are rising, and climate risks along our coasts are increasingly becoming both more visible and more frequent. Seen through this lens, blue foods are not simply about fisheries management. They are as much about resilient food systems in a climate-constrained world. When managed well, they can do something quite powerful: strengthen livelihoods, improve diets, and support climate-smart growth. And they can do this all at the same time. However, this will not happen automatically. Too often, we treat fisheries as a sectoral issue, climate as an environmental issue, and nutrition as a public health issue. In reality, blue foods forces us to think in systems where ecosystems, markets, communities are interconnected. For a country like India and a state like Maharashtra, with vast coastlines, rich inland fisheries, a deep traditional knowledge, a growing blue economy, and even bigger blue economy ambition, the opportunity is not just to sustain what exists, but to shape a more equitable and climate-smart blue foods future. We're already seeing encouraging shifts: better fisheries management, improved value chains, cold chain investments, some really exciting new agri-tech opportunities, digital tools, stronger community-led approaches. The real task is scale, moving from pilots to systems that work for millions of small producers while protecting marine ecosystems. Environmental Defense India Foundation is a Section 8 not-for-profit. I'm going to make a shameless pitch right now. We're a young, new organization. We were set up 3 years ago. We're supported by Rohini Nilekani, Sanjeev Bikchandani, Ashish Dhawan, Gaurav Dalmia, but we're constantly looking for new supporters, so just saying it out there. Our work is focused on science-based, community-centered solutions. Now, why is the whole sustainability question relevant today? When we look at fisheries, sustainability that does not work for people will neither sustain nor scale. And we have to keep that lens in all that we do. Today's session is therefore not just about fisheries, it's about livelihoods, it's about nutrition, it's coastal resilience, and the role of blue foods as a credible climate solution for Maharashtra, for India, and beyond. With that, I welcome you all, and it's now my privilege to invite Ms. Nagnath Badule, Joint Commissioner of Fisheries Marine at the Maharashtra Fisheries Department. His leadership has been instrumental in advancing sustainable fisheries and strengthening coastal communities. Mr. Badule, may I request you to come, please.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries. Actually, I'm Nagnath Bahadule, Regional Deputy Commissioner of Fisheries, Maharashtra State Fisheries Department. Actually, I have taken the permission to talk in Marathi because I can better speak in Marathi. So please excuse me and give me a permission. So माननीय उपस्थित मान्यवर तज्ञ वक्ते पॅनल सदस्य आणि उपस्थित सर्व मान्यवरांचं मी पहिला या कार्यक्रमात स्वागत करतो आणि त्याबरोबरच मुंबई क्लायमेट वीक 2026 या महत्वपूर्ण तर मुंबई क्लायमेट वीक 2026 या महत्वपूर्ण व्यासपीठावर आणि हवामान बदलावर आपल्याला उपाय म्हणून ब्लू फूड्स या विषयावर काही विचार मांडण्यासाठी मला आपण या ठिकाणी संधी दिल्याबद्दल मी आयोजकांचं सुरुवातीलाच मनपूर्वक आभार मानतो. आज जर आपण हवामानाच्या बद्दल बोलायचं झालं तर हा हवामान बदल हा जागतिक स्तरावरचा एक गंभीर प्रश्न आहे आणि यामध्ये ऊर्जा, उद्योग, वाहतूक या विषयावरच आपण रेग्युलर किंवा वारंवार चर्चा करत असतो. परंतु या ठिकाणी आपण ह्याच्यामध्ये वेगवेगळे सोल्युशन ज्यावेळी शोधत असतो त्यावेळी आपण बाकीच्या पण गोष्टींचा विचार करतो. त्याच्यामध्ये प्रामुख्याने जल आधारित अन्न साखळी म्हणजेच जे ब्ल्यू फूड आहे त्याच्या बाबतीत देखील आपण थोडासा जर त्याच्यावर एक प्रकाश टाकला किंवा त्याच्यावर एक आपण लूक टाकलं तर नक्कीच हे हवामान बदलावर प्रभावी आणि एक शाश्वत हे त्याच्यावर उत्तर ठरू शकतो किंवा आपण त्याची ओळखणे त्याची म्हणजे त्याचे जे फायदे आहेत किंवा त्याचं जे आपल्याला भविष्यात त्याचा जो उपयोग होणार आहे ते ओळखणं गरजेचं आहे. आणि याकरता जर आपल्याला ह्या विषयावर थोडंसं डिटेल बोलायचं झालं तर भारतामध्ये साधारण 1.3 कोटी लोक छोट्या उद्योगावर अवलंबून आहेत आणि त्यामध्ये महाराष्ट्रामध्ये हजारो लोक किनाऱ्यावर राहतात. म्हणजे किनारी भागामध्ये अंतर्भागात असणारी कुटुंब अनेक आहेत आणि त्यांचं प्रमुख जे व्यवसाय आहे तो मत्स्य व्यवसाय आहे आणि मत्स्य व्यवसायावर ते अवलंबून असून हा व्यवसाय फक्त अन्न पुरवठा करणारा व्यवसाय नसून ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्थेत आणि सामाजिक अर्थव्यवस्थेत स्थैर्याचा अनेक महत्त्वाचा आधारस्तंभ देखील आहे. आणि याकरता आपण या ज्या क्लायमेट वीकमध्ये आपण ज्या महत्त्वाच्या चर्चा करणार आहे आणि त्याच्यामध्ये ज्या ह्या क्लायमेटच्या चेंजचा जो परिणाम होणार आहे त्यासाठी नक्कीच मत्स्य व्यवसायातलं जे योगदान आहे ते पण महत्त्वाचं ठरणार आहे किंवा हे ब्ल्यू फूड आहे जसं त्यांनी आता सांगितलं की ब्ल्यू फूड किंवा जल आधारित जे अन्न आहे ते इथून पुढं फार महत्त्वाचं ठरणार आहे. आणि ह्याचे काही कारणं आहेत. त्याच्यामध्ये सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं कारण आहे की ब्ल्यू फूड्स हे कमी कार्बन उत्सर्जन करणारं असं अन्न आहे. पोषण मूल्यांनी समृद्ध आहे, तुलनेने कमी नैसर्गिक साधनांचा वापर करणार आहे की जसं म्हणजे ह्याच्या मला असं म्हणायचं पोषण मूल्य म्हणजे माशामध्ये ओमेगा असतं, फॅटी ॲसिड्स कमी असतात, त्याच्यानंतर तुम्हाला हाय प्रोटीन असतं, लो कॉस्ट प्रोटीन फिशमधून किंवा जलाधारित जे ह्याच्यातून तुमचं जे फूड आहे ब्ल्यू फूड आहे ह्याच्यातून तुम्हाला मिळू शकतं. त्यामुळे निश्चितच हे क्लायमेट चेंजच्या दृष्टीने अत्यंत महत्त्वाचं आहे असं माझं स्वतःचं मत आहे. त्याच्यानंतर आपण या गोष्टी करताना महाराष्ट्रामध्ये आपण यासाठी कोणत्या म्हणजे काळजी घेतो किंवा ह्या ब्ल्यू फूडचं मोठ्या प्रमाणात लोकांचं कन्झम्पशन वाढावं किंवा ह्या हाय प्रोटीनचं फूड लोकांपर्यंत पोहोचण्यासाठी आपण काय उपाययोजना करतो. यामध्ये सुद्धा आपण महाराष्ट्रामध्ये शाश्वत मासेमारी टिकवून ठेवण्यासाठी आपण मासेमारी बंदीचे काटेकोरपणे पालन करतो. ज्यावेळी पावसाळ्याचा सीझन असतो त्याच्यामध्ये ब्रीडिंग होत असतं माशांचं तर त्यावेळी आपण ह्याच्यावर काटेकोर बंदी ठेवतो म्हणजे शाश्वत प्रोडक्शन हे आपल्याला मिळालं पाहिजे. त्याच्यानंतर अजून शाश्वतता वाढण्याकरता त्या जाळ्यांचं जे आकारमान असतं म्हणजे छोटी पिल्लं पकडली जाऊ नये याकरता त्याच्यावर सुद्धा आपण नियमन केलेलं आहे. त्याच्यानंतर सागरी संसाधनांचे संरक्षण आणि उपाययोजना देखील आपण यामध्ये राबवत असतो. आणि आमचे मत्स्य व्यावसायिक जे आहेत ते केवळ उत्पादक नाहीत तर ते सागरी परिसंस्थेचे एक महत्त्वाचे घटक आणि रक्षक देखील आहेत. हे प्रामुख्याने मला इथं सांगू वाटतं. त्याच्यानंतर तंत्रज्ञानामुळे या क्षेत्रात सकारात्मक बदल होत आहेत. परंतु आणि हवामान अनुकूल जलकृषी तंत्रज्ञान, अर्ली वॉर्निंग सिस्टीम, उपग्रह आधारित माहिती सेवा, कोल्ड चेन सुविधा, डिजिटल ट्रेसेबिलिटी यामुळे उत्पादन क्षमता देखील आपल्या राज्याची वाढत आहे, इथं मला अभिमानानं सांगू वाटतं. आणि त्याच्यानंतर हे जे छोटे स्मॉल स्केलमध्ये जे व्यवसाय करणारे आहेत, याच्यामध्ये जर मोठ्या प्रमाणात गुंतवणूक केली तर नक्कीच ह्या गोष्टीवर चांगला प्रकाश देखील पडू शकतो. आणि यामध्ये विशेषतः महिलांचा सहभाग, प्रक्रिया, विक्री आणि याच्यामध्ये मोठ्या प्रमाणात होणे देखील महत्त्वाचं आहे. आणि हे ब्ल्यू फूड प्रणाली मजबूत करण्यासाठी सामाजिक आणि आर्थिक समावेशनाला देखील चालना देणे गरजेचं आहे. निश्चितच हवामान बदल, अतिवृष्टी, चक्रीवादळे, किनारी धूप, संसाधनावरील ताण अशा आव्हानांना आपल्याला सामोरे जावे लागत आहे. यासाठी शासन, संशोधन संस्था, स्वयंसेवी संस्था आणि खाजगी क्षेत्र यांना एकत्रितपणे आपण प्रयत्न करणे गरजेचे आहे. आणि ह्या अशा महत्त्वाच्या जो कार्यक्रम आपण केलेला आहे क्लायमेट वीकमध्ये, तर मला प्रामुख्यानं मत्स्य व्यवसाय याच्यामध्ये मोठा रोल आहे. आणि आपलं शासन याच्यामध्ये चांगल्या प्रकारे कार्य करत आहे. आपल्या मत्स्य व्यवसाय विभागाचे राज्याचे जे मत्स्य व्यवसाय अधिकारी, मत्स्य व्यवसायाचे मंत्री आहेत, कॅबिनेट मंत्री नितेश राणे साहेब, यासाठी फार मोठ्या प्रमाणात त्यांचं अभ्यास आणि योगदान आहे आणि मार्गदर्शन आहे. तर त्यांच्या मार्गदर्शनाखाली आम्ही नक्कीच हे ब्ल्यू फूड जे आहे ते ॲज अ क्लायमॅटिक सोल्युशन म्हणून कसं भविष्यात पुढे येईल त्यासाठी आम्ही प्रयत्न करत राहू. आणि परत एकदा आपल्या या कार्यक्रमाला, मुंबई क्लायमेट वीक 2026 या कार्यक्रमाला आम्हाला मत्स्य व्यवसायाला बोलण्याची संधी दिली आणि आम्हाला विचार मांडण्यासाठी आमंत्रित केल्याबद्दल मी आपल्या संयोजकांचं मनपूर्वक आभार मानतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
Thank you so much, Mr. Badule. It's really helpful and important to hear how Maharashtra government is taking blue food seriously as both a climate solution and a nutrition solution and an export solution, so much appreciated. It's a delight to also have Amanda Leland today. She's the Executive Director of Environmental Defense Fund. Amanda leads EDF's global mission to ensure a vital earth for everyone. She previously led EDF's Oceans program across multiple countries, helping demonstrate that strong science, smart policy, and partnering with fishing communities can transform both ecological and economic outcomes. Her work has shown that sustainable fisheries are not just an environmental success story, but also a livelihoods and market story when designed well. She knows the space so well that she went and wrote a book about it. Some copies of there are available after the session. Today, Amanda will keynote why blue foods are emerging globally as a critical solution at the intersection of climate, nutrition, and livelihoods, and how collaborative, science-led approaches can help scale impact. Amanda.
Thank you, Hisham. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. It really is important that we have folks in the room to talk about blue foods, the incredible opportunity and promise of blue foods. And doing it at Mumbai Climate Week is also important because, as we've heard, these connections are not always made. So I really appreciate you being here with us today. All right, so I am a marine biologist, it's true. I did my studies in marine biology. I've worked around the world helping to recover wild fisheries. And I'm excited to talk today more about what we can do with respect to blue foods and aquaculture in particular. So, actually, I should probably also say a little bit more about Environmental Defense Fund. Hisham was kind enough to explain Environmental Defense India Foundation. EDF is a global environmental nonprofit organization, and as Hisham said, our mission is a vital earth for everyone. And we focus on a lot of different kinds of areas of work and solutions, in particular, transitioning to clean energy, strengthening nature-based climate solutions, reducing methane emissions. If anybody wants to talk about methane, I'm here for you. It's not always the subject, but it's important. Ensuring that we have cleaner air and water for everybody and transforming our agricultural systems. So while I'm here this morning as a representative of our fisheries and oceans work, I'm happy to talk to you offline about lots of other things and opportunities when it comes to climate and environment. But one lesson here cuts across all of it. Food systems are one of the most powerful levers we have to advance climate solutions, to improve resilience, human health, and economic opportunity all at once. This is where we can really see those triple wins happen. But if we don't act quickly, these systems could be in peril. Today, 1 in 10 people still face hunger, and nutritional outcomes are actually worsening, and billions of people around the world lack access to essential micronutrients. These are the things that help babies' brains develop. It's really important that mothers and children have access to micronutrients to ensure healthy development and growth through the lives of all people. Current food systems are a major driver of climate change, and they contribute up to 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Did you all know that? Did you all know how important it is to get food systems right to help solve the climate challenge? I see a lot of nodding heads. Excellent. But they're also a leading cause of, food systems are also a leading cause of biodiversity loss, water overuse, and land degradation. And today we really are kind of caught in a vicious cycle. Climate change is rapidly changing the environment in which we grow and we capture our food, while food systems are driving climate impacts. These two things are operating at the same time together. But there is hope. Aquatic blue foods are an underrepresented part of the food system discussion. They play an important role in global food and nutrition, but can play an even greater role in food system transformation and how we feed our growing population around the world. So let's take a step back. I think Hisham may have already defined this, but I think it's worth just hanging on this for just a second because it's new terminology that we're using. What is blue foods? There's fish, shellfish, marine plants, algae, that are captured or harvested in marine and fresh water. So blue foods can be blue in the ocean or they can be blue inland. And today, blue foods provide important protein for about 3 billion people on the planet. So it's happening everywhere all at once. And in many countries, the value is much higher. They are especially important for coastal and rural communities throughout the global south and the developing tropics. And again, this is where food security and vulnerability come into play. In addition, blue foods also support hundreds of millions of livelihoods and food security needs while generating approximately 472 billion annually in global revenue. That's a big amount of money for this food system. They're, as I said, they're an incredibly important source of valuable nutrients. I love this graphic because it shows you in like right up front what you get when you eat some fish. It's a good choice for your kids and your family. The omega-3s, vitamin A, zinc, and other essential nutrients. Okay, a diversity of blue foods means a diversity of climate impacts. If we can go to the next slide. Awesome. Oop. All right, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So we catch and farm over 2,500 different species of fish, shellfish, marine plants, and algae. And so this means that there's not just diversity in what's available, but there's also different climate variables involved here. So ocean acidification impacts coral reefs and the fish and other things that live on those reef systems. Hurricanes and sea level rise damage infrastructure and assets for both production and supply chains. Drought and flooding affect availability of water for freshwater species. And not all blue food is equally vulnerable. So the diversity is both a risk here as well as an opportunity. But blue foods are not only resilient, they are also part of the climate solution. I also love this graphic. Many aquatic foods carry a lower carbon footprint than other animal-based sources of protein. Again, eating fish is a good idea. Other good news is that if we build the resilience of aquatic food systems and enhance the sustainable production of aquatic food supplies, we can do this in the changing climate world. Decades of evidence show that depleted fisheries, which can actually be managed to recover. It is the subject of the book that I have that came out this fall, but it can also be a sustainable source of food and nutrition. And well-managed fisheries are actually more resilient to climate impacts. Aquaculture has the potential for climate adaptation, both in species choices as well as feeds and farm design, which can create climate resilience and safeguard against harvest losses. In fact, models indicate that aquaculture production can be expanded sustainably to meet per capita demand for aquatic foods in every coastal county and country on Earth under all but the most severe climate scenarios. So it's a good choice for what's happening on the planet due to climate stress. Some systems, such as the aquaculture of mussels, clams, and seaweeds, can actually be a net positive for the planet. I love some mussels and clams and seaweed. They can filter excess nutrients out of the water, and they have the potential also to remove additional carbon dioxide. So these are good choices as well. Improving the sustainability, resilience, and equity of seafood production, processing, and distribution can also help us meet 9 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And we know that blue foods support millions of livelihoods and provide critical nutrients to people around the world, and they can be part of the climate solution. Despite their potential, though, not yet, blue foods are not well integrated into climate and nutrition strategies like national determined contributions or national food plans. Who here has seen blue foods be integrated into a country's NDC yet? Nobody. I have one use case which I'll share in just a moment, but it's in Mexico. There you go. And despite their potential, actually for too long now, blue foods have been left out of food system dialogues. Sustainable Development Goal 2, if you have memorized them, is zero hunger. That's a really important goal. It defines aims for terrestrial ag systems, but there's no mention of fisheries or aquaculture. It's a big gap that we can help close. And this graph shows funding over time, and it basically how little international development banks have prioritized blue foods. So there's opportunity there too. And this has major implications for the way the world invests in projects aimed at addressing hunger and malnutrition. And it has led to channeling millions of tons of nutrient-rich aquatic foods away from groups and people who need them the most, because these systems have prioritized land-based agriculture and not the incredibly important resources that we have in our waters. But thankfully, there's some momentum here to shift the narrative, and countries are increasingly looking at aquatic foods as vital to climate and food security. At the global level, to advance blue foods and help them realize their potential, We need to mobilize many different actors, and we need to work in partnership. And that is what the Aquatic Blue Food Coalition is all about, which is a group of more than 65 members, including 16 national governments, working to make sure blue foods are recognized, valued, and supported. And our coalition builds on the foundation for evidence-based action and elevates, this is really important, it elevates the underrepresented voices in these systems and helps to facilitate tailored solutions that will work to different country needs. To date, the coalition organized, participated, and led over 75 events at regional and global convenings, and really to raise the profile of aquatic foods. And the coalition has mobilized support that has aided countries in integrating blue foods into policy by, in particular, contributing to a revision of Sierra Leone's fishing strategy, as in supporting Indonesia in completing a national blue food assessment in its 5-year development strategy. It also helped to drive Mexico, this is what I raised earlier, to add blue food language and its nationally determined contribution. So there's real progress being made, though still so much to do. Our world is grappling with methods to reduce global emissions while adapting to the impacts of climate change and the many challenges it poses to human health and well-being. But this is the important part. There is a low-carbon source of nutrient-rich protein that's available to all of us around the world in our rivers, in our waters, and our oceans, which can help improve human health and reduce greenhouse gases. So, what comes next? We're going to continue to advocate for blue foods and recognize their critical, fundamental role as a climate solution, and ensure that blue foods are integrated into food policy at the national and global scale. We need to mobilize investment into the solutions that are going to work in research and in infrastructure. We need to build capacity because not everybody knows how to make the most out of the systems that are available now. And we need to exchange knowledge between groups because there's a lot of innovation in different parts of the world and we can learn from each other. The world is looking for solutions like blue foods, and we're looking for actionable examples that we can grow and leverage to maximize nutrition, equity, sustainability, and climate resilience. So with that, I think I am going to close here. Thank you all for including this important topic in Mumbai Climate Week. I'm really honored to be here for this, and I hope it sparks a little bit of thinking for you on the path forward about how we can do more together to help solve nutrition, climate change, and livelihoods all at the same time. It's there for the taking. Thank you. Thank you, Hisham.
Thank you so much. I think we are moving to the panel stage now, right, Vijay? Yeah, and Amay? Okay. All right, so I'm going to introduce the moderator of the panel. Dr. Adhavan is a marine biologist and thematic lead for coastal and marine conservation at HCL Foundation. For those of you who haven't heard of HCL Foundation, I'll just say that we see loads of foundations out there, corporate foundations, and this is honestly one of the finest ones that tries to build evidence-based support for community organizations. So thank you for the work that you're doing. At HCL, he leads science-based efforts on seagrass, coral, and mangrove restoration, as well as marine debris mitigation. His work combines ecological conservation with community-led approaches that strengthen coastal resilience and support sustainable livelihoods among fishing communities. Dr. Adhavan, and if I could request the panelists to go on to this. I was trying to be polite.
Thank you very much for the lovely introduction, Mr. Hisham. Yeah, few words about HCL Foundation. Like we are CSR arm of HCL Tech, and we are together with the partners. We are working on the conservation of coastal, that is ghost nets and marine debris mitigation, and mangrove restoration, along with the community. So without delaying further, we quickly go into the panel discussion. First, I would like to introduce Dr. Welbury. Dr. Welbury, she is the Director of Coastal Resource and Fisheries at MS Swaminathan Research Foundation since 2002. Dr. Welbury has worked with the marine fishing community along with India's southeast and west coast, focusing on marine biodiversity conservation, livelihood development, and climate change adaptation. She promotes participatory fishery resources management methods among fishing community, and support women collective and enhancing fishing production and commercialization. You're welcome, ma'am. Next, I would like to introduce Dr. Asha Hatkar. Dr. Asha, she is a senior fellow at Energy and Resource Institute in Goa and regional coordinator for Indian Coastal Region, GF UNDP. Dr. Asha is a research and development professional with over 18 years of experience in coastal and natural resource management, with a strong focus on community-led conservation and sustainable livelihood. She currently serves as a fellow and regional coordinator for the Indian Coastal Region under UNDP GEF Small Grant Program, whereas she plays a pivotal role in strengthening grassroots environment action across coastal landscape in the role with the Small Grants program. Dr. Hatkar has demonstrated exceptional ability to bridge social and natural sciences translation, scientific knowledge into practical community-driven solution. You're welcome, ma'am. Yeah. Next, I would like to welcome Snehal Verma. Ms. Snehal Verma is a CEO of co-founder director of Natural Dots, a New Delhi-based company that utilizes data and technology, including artificial intelligence, to interpret complex ecosystem dynamic in aquatic environment and deliver insight and prediction to aid sustainable water management and ecosystem restoration. You're welcome, Ms. Snehal Verma. Next, I would like to introduce Mr. Nilesh Gandhi. Mr. Nilesh Gandhi, founder and managing director of Nizona Marine Products, a marine biotechnology company that converts fish and shrimp waste into high-value biomaterial. The company is focused on upcycling and responsible, scalable value creating for global markets, a model that strongly supports the circular bioeconomy. It works directly with the fisherman, aquaculture operator, and processing plant to secure consistent raw material supply without encouraging overfishing or unsustainable extraction. You're welcome, Dr. Gandhi. So thank you everyone once again for joining this session. First, I would like to ask Dr. Welbury. So, how can community-led co-management and innovation like the household solar dryer developed by MSSRF position small-scale fisheries as cornerstone of resilient, lower carbon food system that support millions of people?
Thank you, Adhavan, and thank you, EDF, for this wonderful opportunity. Yes, actually, I'm from MS Swaminathan Research Foundation. We have an arm called Fish for All and Ever. So the title of our center is so well aligned with the today topic. The Fish for All and Ever program started during 2010. Since then, I have been associated with the program, and I proudly says that I am one of the out person for this session. And Yeah, actually, today when we see the Indian fisheries, so more than 80% of our Indian fisheries comes under small scale fisheries. These small scale fisheries, fisher folks are facing lot of issues like habitat degradation one side, then over exploitation is the other side, then pollution, industrial pollution as well as the fisheries, fishing related issues like coast gears. And all of these three, the climate change is the major things. So all these four factors affecting like anything with our small scale fishing community. So in India, 80% of the people under small scale fisheries, and this particular community, they have given more than 70% of the protein to the entire Indian population, but they are under struggle. So how our science will be supporting these people, how our existing programs, schemes, or our developmental interventions are supporting these schemes is a big question among us. So in this context only, now everybody is working towards focusing on the small scale fisheries. Foundations also working with this domain, mainly to address the issue of sustainability with the brand of sustainable fisheries for sustainable livelihood. So without sustainability, we can't achieve the sustainable livelihood of the people. So what is needed for sustainability? What is needed for sustainable livelihood? So there is an interconnection between these two. If you want to make sustainability, we have to work with the community. Most of the time we see the community as a kind of users or beneficiaries. They are not our beneficiaries. Actually, they are our partners. They are our co-creators. They are our co-workers. So when we see when we see them as a kind of user, beneficiary, our approach is different. When we see them as a community as our partners, means our strategies, approaches are different. So foundation, we see them as a partner with the support of we jointly with the EDF, we have implemented a program in the southern region of India, Tamil Nadu, where we built the community to manage the entire ecosystem, the co-management. From the resource users to resource stewardships. So the community, they come into the forum, they talk about sustainability, they talk about monitoring of the resources, they talk about what needs to be done. So this kind of approach is really helpful to manage the sustainable blue food ecosystem in the area. That is one side. Other side, only this kind of institutions or governance is not enough. So we have to promote the technology. So if you want to actively involve the people on the governance side, we have to promote them the sustainability part and technology part. In that, we have also done an innovation, introduced the solar dryers. You see the solar dryers, if you Google it, you can get n number of solar dryers, fish solar dryers. But here also, we see the real issue on the ground. So where the women, the small resource users, what kind of issues they are facing? What is their challenges? So how do we address this issue through technology? So we have started a customization process, customization and localization. So whatever available solar dryer, it is the price is very huge. It is affordability is a matter. So we customize the solar dryer into a kind of user-friendly, low-cost solar dryer. So portable mini solar dryer. So the available solar dryer is around 4 lakhs rupees on the market. We customized into 40,000 rupees. So that also integrate with the government schemes. So only the people get, they spend only 20,000 rupees. The 20,000 rupees, they get it from the government. So they can produce the quality dry fish product. So in this way, foundation with the EDF and other partners, we are demonstrating several aspects. But again, the one point I want to highlight this particular forum is that if we want to achieve the sustainable blue food ecosystem, you have to focus on the sustainable resource management also. Without resource, we can't make a sustainable blue food ecosystem. So here, a lot of agencies are available. So when you think about the community, when you think about the sustainable fisheries, when you think about the overall fisheries management, please see these two aspects in a parallel way. One side, the promoting the sustainable ecosystem, other side, create a sustainable livelihood opportunities. These two things are going in a parallel way. Then only we achieve the sustainable blue food ecosystem. So with this, I end my first.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wilbury. It was a wonderful thing. Next question I would like to pass to Dr. Asha Hatkar. Looking across coastal states in India, how can strong governance and alignment with SDG 14 help ensure that community-led innovation in blue food, like those we heard today, and are sustained and scaled?
Thank you very much. And thank you, EDF, for inviting me to be the panelist over here. Basically, I'm working at TERI, the Energy and Resources Institute, and also for the UNDP Small Grants Program. So this Small Grants Program basically embodies the principle of thinking globally and acting locally. So during this, it's been decades that we have been working on interacting or supporting the local communities. And the lessons that we have learned across the coastal states of India is that there are a lot of innovations that are driven by the community, which exist, but is on at a lower scale. Now, these innovative ideas that come from the community, that is community-led organizations, fisher groups, or women self-help groups, are not really recognized at the governance level. I mean to say, the governance level at the SDG 14, for example, if you take, the monitoring and it's still evolving. It's not fully recognized. So the activities or the innovations that happen at the ground level is not reflected on a broader scale. There are a lot of women-led entrepreneurs working specifically for seaweed, the blue food that we get in terms of the pickles that they have generated. This lot of entrepreneurship development which scales up and it is siloed. It is not well visible. So to think in terms of getting them recognized, so there's a need for some sort of a support, both at the government policy level, as well as from other institutes that is ongoing. In India, we have a lot of support. But these supports are done in silos, like it is done in some states, it's done in some remote, and hence it is important that at the governance level that we have a multifaceted platform. Now, such platforms are also very important to recognize these organizations, these institutional women self-help groups, or these groups that have come up, like even organization, like for example, what she said, that developing solar-based, these needs recognition, and such kind of platforms actually help in supporting or in terms of, wider acceptance of these different innovations that happen at the ground level. So when we are saying reporting and monitoring at the SDG level, that is SDG specifically for goal 14, which is life below water, it is not only about reporting the amount of the funds that are going into the development, it's also the protection and conservation aspects that feed into the conservation of marine life. So that's from submission from my end.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. It was a wonderful thing, like the small grants house is supporting the community. Now I'll pass on the mic to Ms. Verma. Your company Nature Dots leverages emerging technology to help government, companies, and communities understand and plan for ecosystem change, including the impact of climate change. Why is technology is a key tool for our increasingly climate impacted world, and how can it benefit Blue Food?
Thank you so much. I completely agree with what few of my panelists mentioned. Emerging technologies can be extreme game changers, especially in bringing visibility to some of these unexplored or underexplored ecosystems, water being one of them. We still do not understand water on which Blue Foods are dependent in its entirety. The problem with silos does exist with the current governance, once because they do not understand the resource as such. Blue Foods, where we come in, where we see more technologies, could be a game changer in like unraveling some of this ecosystem interconnectedness and how it has an impact on local economy, including from food security perspective, on upscaling the resilient Blue Foods, which can provide protein security to many. I would like to spend like just 10 seconds on how some of the new technologies, when they're developed with communities. So at Nature Dots, one of our first investors were the fish farmers themselves, because they needed the technology to help them sort of predict what's changing in the ecosystem, which directly had an impact on their production. So building technologies with a human-centered design and a need, like from the get-go of it, can really be a game changer. The second part, which we're increasingly seeing, is once you get a lot of this information on how a production system is behaving, for example, water, what's changing in water, it can really help with some of the economic goals. For example, in 2025, we monitored almost 25 million USD worth of fish loss just because of water quality challenges. In India, we have seen water temperatures increasing by 5 degrees Celsius, which is leading to huge losses in freshwater aquaculture. Now that's a hidden harvest, which nobody has been able to quantify or quantify the loss of that. So 25 million USD globally just because of water quality, out of which 10% of that was factored in India. But these are the ones that were only reported. Who really bears the problem of it are the ones who, largely the sustenance producers. But if you can give them the technology to sort of de-risk them by bringing them as one of, for us, they are a data equity partners, that can really upscale like Blue Food systems to be resilient by design without overwhelming the user, especially for emerging markets like India, parts in Africa, and Latin. But similarly, we are seeing how technologies are helping even advanced markets such as Australia, Norway to transition towards much more resilient and sustainable practices, because aquaculture, as we have also seen, is one of the most, could be one of the most game-changing food source for variety. Yeah.
Thank you for that. So, like, my question is, like, how the fisher folk, they ready to adapt for the new technology, like using the gadgets, because we observe when you go to the field, fisher folk, they are not ready to accept new technologies, as it is difficult for them to learn immediately.
So we had to innovate on the business model. First of all, intelligence should be for free to them. You cannot charge fisher folks for the water, like climate advisories or intelligence. That's where most of the ag-tech models have failed. So one, pivoting on the business model. Second, if you develop the technology and design it in accordance with one of the most vulnerable user, the time for them to adopt to the new systems, you can decrease that. That's where we saw the adoption. Just to give you one simple user experience we did was, many of the fisher folks, especially when we were working with women, the access to a tool which can tell them how their production system are doing outside of the, so usually the fish culture ponds are not in near the home. They're always somewhere away. So they have to travel that much time. For women, that's a safety issue also. Now, if they have a tool which can tell them how that biomass production is happening, if the dissolved oxygen is going to crash, because they understand pH and DO, they can time and reduce their, increase their efficiency, whether they need to go to the field at that time or not. Second, we don't over bombard them with a lot of information, but contextualize it only for the use case that they need. And our current fish farmers do not use our systems for water intelligence, but for increasing their biomass productivity. And since we are able to know where the harvest is coming from, now we are also helping them connect with market. So there's a trickle-down effect overall, and once they start seeing benefits in the first cycle, then the second cycle they have much more buy-in to keep on using it. We primarily work with the sustainance, so small-scale fisher folk as data equity partner, but we pivoted on the business model where we charge the commercial aquaculture companies.
Thank you very much for that. So now I move on to Mr. Gandhi. So many sustainable innovations struggle to move beyond pilots. Based on your experience building a commercially viable bio-natural business across India and Japan, what market and policy enables are needed to scale marine byproduct upcycling? And how can climate impact be positioned as a core value proposition rather than a core benefit?
Yeah. Good morning, all. I'm Nilesh Gandhi. I'm the founder of Nizona Japan and Nizona Marine Products India. We are in the space of upcycling fish and shrimp leftovers into sustainable biomaterials. Your question, Dr. Adwan, the main three things that need to be aligned to make sustainable innovations more practical are as follows. Number one is the abundance of raw materials which are being used for the innovation or the research. For example, collagen peptide is the space which we are in. Collagen peptide can be extracted from jellyfish also and fish scales also, but both have a very big difference in terms of the yield, in terms of where it has to be transported. So fish scales are a very practical solution for converting to collagen peptide. In the same way, when it comes to chitosan, we ideally need to use shrimp heads and shells and not crab, because of course we can use crab also, but the yields and the abundance is the problem. Second factor is the buyer intent. We need to align the scientific research with the market so that it becomes more circular and goes towards the ground. I'll explain a little bit. The buyer intent in terms of the end user, if they are aware of traceable and green labels. Besides that, the manufacturers who can use the sustainable materials, how ready are they for using the sustainable materials in the existing manufacturing processes without replacing the machineries that they are currently using. So if the sustainable materials, for example, we are working on PFAS solutions, that is the PFAS, which I will talk a little bit, where currently PAC and alum are used for water purification. Instead of that, if we are using some chitosan acetate compounds, well, we can't replace the complete PAC or alum, but even a little bit of the chitosan acetate, which is a shrimp leftover derivative. How it can be integrated in the existing processes matters. Brands like Patagonia, Wendy's, IKEA have promised PFAS-free products, or they're already delivering PFAS-free products. PFAS, I'm sure most of us know, it is the pre and polyfluoroalkyl substances, which are the 10,000 forever chemicals which are there in our foods, in our food wrappers, in our clothes, in the Teflon coatings, everywhere. And these are chemicals which cause cancer, cholesterol, thyroid, immunity issues. And these PFAS are chemicals which are oil and water repellent and are completely resistant to extreme heat temperatures also, and they are in our systems. And countries like UK and some countries in Europe have already defined zero tolerance to these materials. So companies have to support industries. The third part is the most important, where the compliance comes in. When the government bodies start demanding cleaner water, at that point, it comes back to the industry, and then it comes back to the science, and then it comes back to the ground level, where we can use biomaterials back in the whole cycle of water, soil, plants, and healthcare. Amanda and Hisham gave 3 very important insights about blue foods in terms of the protein, the lower emissions, and livelihoods. I'll just add a 4th dimension here, which is the climate benefits of blue foods. Blue foods have already given us the solutions for the problem of climate. We just need to be seeing them with a different lens. For example, just to add to the data which Amanda presented, I will just add some data. It will be in round figures. 220 million tons of blue foods are produced every year, out of which can you guess how much would be a leftover? I will never call it waste. It is never waste. It is just that we can't process it. If we hydrolyze it, if we do precision fermentation, nothing is waste. So out of the 220 million tons, almost 30 to 50%, that is 100 million tons per year, is a leftover from the blue foods industry. And out of those 220 million tons, 20 million tons is produced in India. So mathematically, if it is 30 to 50% of leftover, we in India itself have 10 million tons of leftover of fish, shrimp, algae, and the other blue food industry. This is full of micronutrients, proteins, etc. Now, the applications currently of the leftover of fish and shrimp industry are mainly in the food industry only. For example, collagen peptide, glucosamine, chondroitin sulfate. These are the byproducts which are from the shrimp shells or the fish scales or skin. Now, these are completely in the nutrition cycle only. But the industrial cycle, the industrial space is maybe 1000x or 10,000x bigger than the nutrition space. Example, water management. The PFAS which I was talking, chitosan acetate can be easily used to clear the heavy metals or the pollutants in water. Chitosan can be used for biostimulants in soil as a plant growth promoter. Also as foliar sprays to increase the shelf life of fruits that can travel a lot more. And chitosan can be used also in healthcare for wound healing. Now these are solutions right in front of us, and we just need to be using them more in a natural way. And if we use that more, we will use lesser chemicals, and lesser chemicals will come into the cycle of manufacturing.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gandhi. So it was a wonderful thing. So like, I have a quick question. Like, see, traditionally, fisher folk, what they do is like they use this dead fish or bycatch for the poultry feeds. So how is like your organization? I mean, your methodology is going to affect that?
Good. Poultry and animal feed is a very easy diversion of the leftover of the shrimp and fish industry. But the higher end applications, poultry feed would sell at between 60 rupees to 120 rupees. But when we are talking about, say, hydroxyapatite, which is for the 3D inks, which is again from the fish scales itself, that would sell at 10,000 rupees a kilo. So there is a huge gap when science and innovation, your very question, that where can sustainable innovation be? That's your answer. Where the application at the compliance or the industry level or the bar intent is there for higher end applications is where the pulling from down will happen. So higher end applications have to be there.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. And thank you all for joining this this panel discussion. And I quickly wrap up this session. For the panel, for the overall panel, I have a last question. What is one action government funder or partner should take in next year to accelerate equitable, low carbon food ecosystem? Anyone can take this question.
I can quickly add
Yeah,
one.
please.
We need more capital coming in for blue foods. That's precursor. Aqua derivative markets is a big market that's coming along, and we need to move beyond bycatch now. And that's where aquaculture and streamline aquaculture in more resilient way can happen, because bycatch is a big problem, and ocean fisheries are already struggling. We don't have enough fish coming from seafood. I'm sure we have the Joint Commissioners sitting over here who can say pomfret size have reduced drastically. Now we are fishing juveniles. You cannot be converting, and there are critically endangered species which are coming in bycatch. We can't make derivatives out of them. But of course, from the streamline aquaculture, where technologies can help, we can increase production, meet up with the demands of the derivative market, and we need more capital coming in. So we need investors to understand this huge opportunity right now, where and blue foods is have been there for a long time, since humans have been, but still we need more products. In India, we need to focus on insurance and credit products for our aquaculture ecosystem, both for freshwater and marine. It is non-existent. And that is where I feel like maybe in the next space, we would love to have more discussions around it.
Actually, I have two comments. One is on the progress side, another one is on the process side. The process side, government and others should invest on the participatory mechanism like the co-management. They have to take fishers on board on their planning, implementation and monitoring. That is on the process side. And product side, government and all other members, they have to invest the low carbon, very simple, affordable technologies. So, because our technology should be replicable. So if you invest more on technology, but without any replicability, there is no meaning for your investment. So I request this forum or all other panelists and others, we have to promote investment more on low-cost technologies, which is affordable for our fisher communities and other key stakeholders.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Just one? Yeah, please.
We need to explain the advantages or the correlation of sustainability with climate benefits in schools. The one line is, whatever we produce, we must fully use.
Thank you very much. Thank you all the panel members for the wonderful discussion. It was a really take-home message for us. We have discussed a lot of information. Thank you very much for joining this panel discussion. Now I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Vijay.
So our next next panelists are waiting outside. We have to wrap up fast. So thank you, Dr. Adaban, for thoughtfully moderating this session, and thank you all panelists for bringing out your experience, your perspective, and thank you, Joint Commissioner, also for joining this session, and Amanda for your keynote address. This project, this event is blessed with a lot of food system talks, but I think on the blue foods, probably this is the only one. And we know how important it is, on the three aspects which everyone touched upon, on the nutrition, how it provides livelihoods, and also supports the climate resilient aspect. Of course, the fourth dimension, what Nilesh Gandhi mentioned, the waste, the circularity component. So Amanda also mentioned the dialogues on blue foods should happen more often on the food system space. So a country like India, which is much populous, agriculture will probably not the only solution. Blue foods can also be an not alternative, maybe a complementing aspect for nutrition and also supporting climate resilience. At EDF, we work very closely with the Maharashtra Fisheries Department. We are very new, but we are working in Ratnagiri to develop climate resilient villages. We also work with other partners. Two of our partners are on the dais, MSSRF, and Dr. Vervi is here. She mentioned how our collaborative work is happening. Also, small grants program, Terry, Dr. Asha is here. We work closely with Terry. And we are committed to work more on this aspect, blue food promoting, I'm happy that Joint Commissioner is here and seeing the importance of blue foods in this food system space and supporting this. So we will work together more. For more and more work in India of EDF in India, and we also like to collaborate more. With that, I am formally closing this session, but we are open for conversation. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Panelists, please stay back. We will take a group photo. And I also request Joint Commissioners Amanda, Hisham, and Ame also please on stage.
This is the book that Amanda wrote.
This is my book. Oh, you want me to hand it out? Okay, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The rest of, thank you, Deepa. Yes, thank you. I love what you said. I love all of this. All right. Here on this side. Oh, just 2 minutes. Do you want me to hold my book? All right. Oh, you want to go to?